More Scottish Pokemon in the Croneo region, created by Dr. Eevee. Link to channel description.
Scotland with a touch of Canada. Bears. Scotland.
Never saw that movie, and I never saw that movie either.
Bear wrestle, fighting and fighting rock respectively.
I think it's perfectly fine that you just add bears in a region without bears. It's fine, whatever. After all, this is a fantasy universe. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate. I heard the story of that bear.
In order to keep giving him rations, they enlisted him in their army. He even received a promotion. After the war,
the story of that bear is awesome. Just like, what are you gonna do? Our army has a bear. GG.
On the military makes sense. At level 33,
it was an adorable little thing and just wrestled with everything. It was
based on a bear called
look into it. It's just adorable.
Scottish wrestler Andy Robin, and later appeared in TV commercials and even movies such as the James Bond film Octopussy. So making him a wrestler makes sense.
Okay.
Both these make sense for the fighting type, but why rock? Besides the obvious connection to
they look like rocks.
Movie star Dwayne The Rock
Ha!
Johnson. Wrestlers have rock-hard muscles, but also former war heroes receive monuments, usually made from stone. Also, both these bears have statues. Granted, I don't think either are made of stone. In all honesty, I realized I was going to have too many mono-fighting types, so I needed something. Rock was honestly the best fit.
I think this fits the best, yeah. Plus, you're going to get a lot of people naming it Dwayne.
Things should be considered while making Pokemon. Even though fauna-wise, Scotland isn't known for bears, despite what Disney and Pixar want you to believe, these
whatever.
are really cool.
I didn't watch the movie, so I have no idea.
Bears, so this all works out anyways. I'm sure.
Yeah, see, it's based on Scotland and Canada. It's fine.
You must have been wondering when I'd show off the bug and poison leaders. I'm glad to report Ant and Lily are here. The four gym leaders of their respective versions. But
nice to see you, Lily. You don't get nowhere near as much fan art as Nisa.
A mono bug type whose
nice pun.
Well, ant, since it's an ant.
Keep it 223, advanced freak. Yeah, that's a fair warning. I'm gonna give that to my people too.
Since it's alone, and excellent. This particular species of ant is also known as the narrow-headed ant.
There's the ant.
Sounded like it could mean narrow-minded. Stuck in its ways, believing its way is the best. It believes it
sounds about right
on its own. If it levels up in a double battle where the other Pokemon on its side is also an excellent, it evolves into Santai, a bug steel.
I like that
ant
little reveal.
Sentai, a Japanese military unit, a squadron, task force, group, or wing. This works with
it also kind of looks like the
you may have noticed it had a samurai.
Shit, I'm forgetting the name. The Gen 8 Pokemon that just got Phalanx.
Referred to as the Scottish samurai back home. He lived in Japan during
kind of like that idea.
Meiji periods.
Looks good. I like it.
A natural Japanese theme. Since ants are naturally in a colony, I had the idea of forming them together to be something else Japanese. A Megazord from Power Rangers, aka
Hells yeah, brother.
And now we have Lily's Ace, who starts out life.
Time for all the fan art.
The name comes from Joey, a baby wallaby, and foliage.
Of course.
Firstly, foliage is based on stinging nettles, which are everywhere in Scotland. Poison grass makes sense for sure, but I didn't just
it's poison ivy.
But then I came up with a theme. And an animal. Since Joliage is a baby wallaby, it is wearing a nappy or diaper, which references how in medieval times, nettles were used to make underwear. Not exclusively, but it is a material that was used.
Oh man, I hope they didn't use any poison ivy by mistake.
The name comes from nanny, wallaby, and lullaby. It's a nanny that looks after wee Joliage.
It's adorable. Looks so happy too.
Perfectly. Okay, time to answer your questions. What are wallabies and why are they in Scotland? Wallabies are like kangaroos, but not. That's it, really. They belong to the same taxonomic family.
Original species do not steal. I still know they're between emu and ostrich, so flightless bird.
They're not native.
I can tell the difference between an emu and a penguin. I can't tell the difference between an ostrich and an emu.
Which is quite a toxic behaviour for an animal to have. This allows for more species diversity. Also, its pouch is based on a dock leaf, which heals nettle stings. So its pouch has healing acids for its baby Joliage. So here's a Jokemon. Fryvern. It is a wyvern that is deep fried. I have been asked to make a deep fried Mars bar Pokemon a few times. For those not in the know, Mars bars are a candy bar that consists of nougat and caramel covered in chocolate. A chip shop, a place that sells fish and chips, which for international viewers is deep fried fish with potato fries, decided to deep fry a Mars bar one time. This shop was and still is in a town called Stonehaven in the northeast of Scotland. I've had one. It was nice.
Well, it says
People think
formerly
it's
of
Scottish
Haven,
enough
so
to warrant
there.
Pokemon, so my thinking went to turning it into a goofy dragon type. After all, there
I'm
have
fine
been a
with
number
that.
of
Have a
goofy
little
dragon
fun with
types in
it.
recent generations, and some of them
Hey.
have been based on food.
Hey, Ampharos is not that goofy. He has luscious locks. Leave him alone. That man had a comeback story of going slowly bald to getting all of his hair back. Now that's a character arc.
I'm sure that Fryvern tastes delicious. No, you're sending mixed signals. Mixed Dreadcap.
I like it. It's nice.
Hence the name. Combined with Dread because it's a mono dark type. Redcaps, also known as Poweries, are these malevolent little murderous goblin men. They hung around abandoned castles, whose owners were known for tyranny, and the reason their caps were red was that they were soaked in blood to keep the colour. Because Dreadcap is pretty much the Pokemon version, even down to its description matching a Redcap, Monodark works well. Normal and Ghost
I'd
are my
say
two
so,
favourite
yeah.
types, and the Fakemon community seem to love making Sheet Ghosts to fit the combination of these two. I personally
Works for
feel
me.
that the more creative approaches are best, i.e. if it's not just a Sheet Ghost, so I made a Sheet Ghost. In my defense, it's just a Sheet Ghost. Its name is...
Look, Sheet Ghosts are eternal, just fair.
I'm not joking. I genuinely decided to make its name that dumb. Its name naturally...
I'm okay with that. There's allowed to be some dumb names in Pokemon. When we think about it, there's a lot of Pokemon whose names are just dad jokes.
4 immunities. Normal is immune to Ghost-type attacks, Ghost is immune to normal and fighting-type attacks, and Pokemon with the Levitate ability, which Ooh has, are immune to ground-type attacks, give or take some specific exceptional cases. Immunities are classed as receiving 0 times damage, and 0 looks an awful lot like a no. Is this dumb? Don't answer that, actually.
It's absolutely
so, as
dumb.
You can see, Ooh is a sheet.
Imagine that
but
thing
it's
being the
actually based on
anime.
Swach from Scottish and Irish folklore, which were spirits of the unforgiven dead, sometimes depicted as fairies acting as a host to these spirits, floating around during Halloween. That explains the angry appearance, the ability, and the Sheet Ghost appearance, since it contains the spirits and a Halloween decoration. You'd get this mon in a similar fashion to how you get Spiritomb in most games. Meet Catherine.
Good luck, in other words.
She initially was envisioned as the Lucario Zoroark of the region, but I'll leave that up to you to decide. And yes, I'm saying she, as this Pokemon is 100% female.
I can see the resemblance, to be fair. It does kind of look like both of them.
Which is half woman, half goat, and similar in aesthetic to a fawn or satyr. She would appear as a woman with golden hair in a green dress, which would hide her goat legs. This is why her name comes from Capra, the genus that goats are a part of, and green. I took liberties with the idea. I wanted her to be very feminine, of course, but I wanted to lean into the more Therian qualities of the myth, by making it even more goat-like, but keeping the human element by making it bipedal, so it's still an anthro-goat creature. I also wanted to play with the idea of it not actually being dead, hence why Caprine is based on the Glaystig, and not literally the Glaystig. It's an anthro-goat lady with ghostly powers,
Everett just comes
similar
in
to
like,
Decidueye
nah.
has ghostly powers, as well as my evolution Gaizion. So in lore, they're ghost type for similar reasons, even though they apply their powers differently. So what's the
Makes sense to me.
Well, versions of the Green Lady
Because Lucario of the
Scotland
region
were depicted as a lady once from nobility, but variations can describe her as either benign or malevolent, a vengeful spirit or an observing spectre, someone who was cursed in life or someone who was murdered. I feel like the fairy type didn't feel right, as giving it to this design may lean into more sympathetic readings of the myth, but Dark would be painting it in a bad light. Fighting can be used as vengeful, noble, or honourable, so I felt it fit thematically. Plus, Caprine is only based on the Glaystig, so only really has the aesthetic and the right types thematically. Its use of the ghost type, as well as ties to old-fashioned concepts such as nobility, makes it the perfect ace for my ghost type gym leader, Anastasia, who I'll talk more about
nice design.
in a specific video. If you're enjoying this video,
Alright, sounds good to me.
A like or even a subscribe.
Yeah, go check out Dr. Eevee's channel, of
Also,
course.
the Croneo region
Please
has
give
a
them
good
some more
spread of
support.
information on the Fakemon.
Certainly deserve it, as well as all the people
Other fans of the series.
involved
And
in this
even a
creation of
Patreon
this.
If you want to help financially support the series and help me keep it going.
What you do with your money is entirely your choice.
So
Hello.
I feel my new mon, Wallinks, will also have ties by being based on 2 famous walls built by the Romans to keep us Scots out of their empire.
Do not make
Those
the
being
reference.
Hadrian's Wall and the Antonine Wall, named after Roman emperors ruling the empire when those walls were beginning construction. Due to Wallinks being based on famous walls, it makes sense that not only would they be more blocky in appearance, but also rock-type to mirror their warrior counterparts originally scoved in Galar.
Works for me. I mean, what would walls be made of but rocks?
If this is a convergent evolution like Wiglet or Toadstool. Sadly, no. I wanted this mon to be the Lunatone to Phalanx's Soul Rock. so it's more of a simple
Oh.
counterpart. So Wooloo's a football.
Works for me.
Or a soccer ball if you're from a place where you're wrong, and Double continues this theme, since it's Wooloo again, hence Double being double and wool. Even its Japanese name implies this. Logically, if I were to make an evolution to Double, it would have to keep the football theme and still basically be the same deal as Wooloo and Double. So I thought, since it's the final stage, making it a retired footballer who usually stays
Makes sense
in
to
the
me.
industry to be
Works
a
out
manager,
well.
a coach or a referee.
Yeah, no, it's the
Hence the
nature.
grayer wool, to reference how people's hair color changes with age, as well as
Hey, it
whistles
happens.
and club wools
Nothing to be ashamed of.
to reference whistles associated with those professions. Oh yeah, it's called club wool, as in football club and wool. But since
I
it's
like that
essentially
name, it's a good
double
joke.
again, you could almost say it's a clone. Clone plus double equals club wool. Since I've brought up clones, the first successfully cloned animal was a sheep in Midlothian, Scotland,
Yep,
conducted
Dahlia.
by the University of Edinburgh. The clone's name was Dolly, named after Dolly Parton.
Or
The fact
Dolly,
that club
yeah.
wool as a clone meant that the clones from Mewtwo Strikes Back could be referenced with
We
their
are
patterns
still
being
cloning
translated
animals
into
today. What makes you think they're not cloning a couple
Evolves from
humans,
Double
though?
when
That's
it
too
makes
complex?
Pokemon faint with the new signature
That would be
move
cloning for a
called
while, though.
Penalty
Otherwise, we
Strike,
would have run out by
which is a
chickens
move
by
that
now, I
deals
imagine.
recoil equal to that of the total amount of HP
It's a
left
conspiracy
on the
theory,
opposing
though. I have no
player.
evidence
If
of
it
that.
faints, no recoil. If it misses, double faints. I think this is an interesting
Works for me.
evolution method, balanced quite well. So I've kind of made it my mission to tackle some of the Pokemon which deserve more love, particularly ones who are disliked for their really bad stats. One such Pokemon is Chimecho, which is one of my personal least favorite Pokemon for this very reason. So
It is pretty
Chimona.
basic, to be fair.
It gains a
Hello!
Normal typing, which makes it immune to the Ghost type, since this line is meant to ward away spirits, as well as the fact that it's a line that goes from a bell to a wind chime, and normal is
Works
the
for me.
most commonly used type to represent sound, so it just made sense.
Yeah, it
has
just
a
makes
crown and
sense.
diamond motif. These two things are a
I like
byproduct of
it.
what I wanted to base this on. So I'm sure a lot of you have at least heard of the English playwright William Shakespeare. and
Oh,
maybe
plenty, don't
specifically the
worry.
play Macbeth, which he wrote.
Heard
It's
of
a
that
tale
one
about
too.
a
I've read that
Scottish
one.
king
Watched the
going
movie.
down a
It's
dark
pretty well
path
known.
to get what he wants. But what's more important to this
I
design
freaking
is
hate the
legend
twist,
surrounding
though.
the play
It
itself.
is just
According
utter
to the legend,
bollocks.
if you
I'll
say
rant
the
about
name
that
of the
later,
play
though.
in a theatre, you will become afflicted with disastrous consequences. This then made me think of other Scottish curses. So how about the Curse of Scotland? Well, that's a nickname for the Nine of Diamonds playing card. The name is speculated to be due to many reasons, which I'll not detail due to time, but all of these connections with curses, the Scottish crown, and the Nine of Diamonds made me want this Pokemon tied with curses and spirits to wear a crown and have 9 diamonds.
Makes
on
sense,
the
it even
crown.
has
Some
the diamonds on it,
could be
yeah.
the 9 black
It's good
diamonds.
detail.
2 of them can't be seen because they're on the back of the crown.
Yeah, they're on the
You'll
back,
see some on the
obviously.
front, plus its 2 eyes, which are also diamond shaped.
Oh,
Another
the eyes
Pokemon
cut you. I'm like, I feel like we're missing some
is
dots.
Absol.
There they
I've
are.
always found this Pokemon to be gorgeous. Its stat total
It is an
isn't
amazing
horrendous,
Pokemon,
but
yeah.
still
It's just
weak
so
with a less than
simple and
stat distribution.
straightforward.
But an attempt was made to make this really cool Pokemon to be loved more, but it didn't work in the long run. Still the
I
best
still like the
Mega
Mega.
design by far, though. So
Oh,
now
yeah, it's
my
fantastic.
turn.
Easily
But
in the
not
top
just an
5,
evolution,
top
it's a baby
10.
as well. Meet
What
Destiny.
baby for?
The name comes from Destiny, except it sounds like baby speak now. But the word
Yeah, it
sin
does.
and part of the word banshee is in there as well. Banshees are Celtic monsters, more associated
Ominous.
with Irish myth. Although Scotland has them too, including one that inspired Destiny's design, which the name is on screen.
Caniog?
Which has a wailing scream and can be an omen of death, fitting of the Absol line, which I'd argue makes sense.
Makes sense to me.
considering Cane Bairns, which were babies who were taken by
Those things are
Witches
just
and
so
warlocks
tragic. They're
as
trying
a
to warn
sort of
people of
tax to
disaster,
the
and
devil.
then
Wouldn't
they
it
just
make
get
sense
blamed.
for a
What the
child
hell?
of the devil to be dark type, regardless of innocence? It evolves into Absol in a way that most babies do with their next stage, with high friendship. But
Friendship,
it also has
yeah.
the additional requirement of having to be the only Pokemon in the party. Absol evolves
Oh,
into
that's gonna be a little
Parasite,
harder.
coming from
Oh!
Foresight and Heresy. It gains the Psychic type. It was weird to me that Absol, having the powers of seeing into the future, didn't have the Psychic type. But
I guess that makes sense that you'd want to add that.
The Parasite doesn't just see the future, though. It sees all futures. Hence the bright, cloudy eyes trope that a lot of prophets stereotypically have. Dark
Makes
is
sense to me.
recontextualized in this evolution, since it's not just an omen, but is able to change the future to suit it or its trainer's needs. Absol just said it how it
However,
is,
this
but
is going to be
since
the only
Parasite broke
Pokemon in your
the natural
party.
flow of time,
Maybe for a challenge run, though.
I know what you may be thinking. Dark Psychic is a horrible type combination. So Parasite has Psychic Armor. This ties into its ability, Exoskeleton. It takes half the damage it otherwise would from incoming attacks. So essentially, instead of having no resistances, it now has 15, and only one weakness now, that being to the severely weak bug type. So how is it Scottish?
So it's
Firstly,
next
there's
to Invincible.
Bee, a mythical washerwoman from Scotland.
Man, my
who is also
freaking
an
Beedrill is
architect,
gonna
seen
whoop
washing the
your
clothes
butt.
of those who are about to die. She was also a type of banshee, and if you caught her off guard, you'd be.
It's a shame they nerfed Twinneedle though. Just let that thing do poison. Like seriously, it's a Beedrill. You're playing a Beedrill. Let them have the freaking freebie.
Think of him as Scottish Nostradamus. He apparently predicted the Battle of Culloden, the creation of the Caledonian Canal, the discovery of North Sea oil, and most fearful of all, Margaret Thatcher. The armor parasite is actually a reference to some of his predictions about war, but also his connections to Brayham Castle.
I've heard Margaret Thatcher, that was just a little lost on me.
It's a stretch, but I think it works. It's disputed if he even existed at all, but if he did, he would have used an Adderstone, and I wanted to reference it through Herocyte's chest thing, essentially also being a planchette, like from a Ouija board. One last thing is that it's got way more horns than just one. Absol's head is reminiscent of the yin-yang, a taijutsu
that's where it got from. That looked kind of familiar.
With the second horn
bug part at the top.
softly referencing the symbol, but it has two other horns to make it look more fierce and evolved. For those not in the know, the Baizi is a Chinese mythological creature which Absol was quite heavily based on. I kept in mind for the evolution and thought a lot about the white coat and horns as a result. So I hope
makes sense to me.
Pokemon. How are your teams?
These are some fantastic designs for Pokemon. I love the Absol line, absolutely. That one's an easy one. Absol's always got a great design, and just they gave it a Mega Evolution, made it look even cooler, and then they kind of just left it alone. But Absol's one of those lines that you could probably just leave as it is, and it's perfectly fine. Though the new evolutions do help. I could see there being a challenge run, just be like, can you beat this game with only Absol? Well, yes, actually. It being the only Pokemon in the party is kind of a bit of a struggle, though. It's like, well, you gotta ditch your starter for that one, I guess. Like, maybe we just, like, only, it was the one of only 3 or something like that. Like, keep the idea alive, but you can still have some stuff, but I don't know, that's just me. The bears were awesome as well, though. I would definitely have one of those in my party. I just like the inspiration, all that stuff. The ant was neat. I like the Sentai reference and how it's sort of like a divergent phalanx, but not too much more complicated than that. It's just cool. The Wallabies one were adorable together. I don't know if I have that on my party, but they look adorable together. I'm happy they're together happily. The deep fried dragon was hysterical though, just the simplicity of we took your dragon and we deep fried it. That was nice. The little gnome thing was fine. It's a random Pokemon, but hey, whatever, you know. Gotta have one of those more easy ones later in the game, I guess. Ooh was hilarious for the name alone. There's little spooky things on the side that was just fantastic. The Lucario of the region was really well inspired and really took on some great designs while being its own thing. It didn't feel like a rip-off. It felt like its own thing that was doing stuff while also being similar to those other two, you know? That was nice. Wallynx is cute, an adorable thing I would beat up all the time and not really have in my party of its own. It's nice that they have an alternative version, though. That was pretty neat to give it a yin and yang sort of scenario, or like a this is this and this is that. The Wooloo, a double thing would be like, that's nice, a cute reference to Dolly and all that stuff. I like that sort of thing, the inspiration, but unfortunately, much like the double, I don't think I'm going to keep this thing on my party for very long. But who knows, maybe in this region I would. You never know for sure, after all. And yeah, the Chimenko kind of needed the boost thing. Unfortunately, it's based off Macbeth with, like, the worst twist of all time. Okay, not the worst twist of all time. That's way too hyperbolic. I just really freaking hate it. Oh, I could be killed by no man born of a woman. Joke's on you, I was a Sarasian section. Ugh. So you cheated. You cheated. That's not even freaking accurate. I know it was probably based on, like, the times and stuff like that, but that just really pissed me the hell off. It's like, no! That's not how that works. It's just... the freaking Lord of the Rings better. I could be killed by no man. I am no man. That was so much better and more to the point, too. Just like, get bleeped, Macbeth. Ugh. Ay. As someone who was a C-section IRO, that one just pissed me the hell off. It's like, hey, fuck you, too. I don't know. It was a different time, and that sort of thing wasn't as advanced as it was now, whereas nowadays when you do the sort of thing... Not going to say easily, but way more easily compared to the times of William Shakespeare, whereas back then it was probably more of just like, oh my god, that's an unnatural sort of thing, where now it's just like, yeah, and moving on. But it's still one of those things where it's like, yeah, fuck you. I don't know, I'm spiteful like that. But anyway, yeah, the Absol was still awesome, and that was a great design on it, and all the Pokemon fan creators did a great job, especially Dr. Eevee, who came up with these designs in the first place. Well, maybe not the designs, but the inspiration for the designs and mixing them all together and all that stuff. All of them were some great Pokemon that some might have in my party, some probably not, to be perfectly honest. But, you know, I still think these were strong overall, and I'd be happy to encounter these on my adventures, especially, ooh, just for the sheer name of it, just like, ooh, just, ooh, who's that Pokemon? Ooh, exactly, something like that. Or the Lucario being on the party, and so much more stuff. I'm kind of looping at this point, but I think these were all some pretty banger designs that he came up with. And yeah, we're kind of bending the rules a bit with Scotland, but hey, he said it's based on Canada too, so of course you get to be in the party as well. So, yeah. Alright. That was a nice little episode, so good work to Dr. Eevee and all the people he commissioned to make these designs. They all came out looking spectacular, and I really like the inspiration that went into it. So, if you want to see more of the series, again, go check out Dr. Eevee, link to channel description below. But, with all that said, thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, see all of you next time. Later!